Imagine booking your dream vacation, only to discover your passport won't get you in. In 2025, there are 10 countries where Malaysian travelers are strongly advised or outright banned from visiting due to wars, political instability, and dangerous conditions. Some of these might surprise you, and a few are closer than you think. Travel has always been one of the greatest freedoms Malaysians enjoy. But in 2025, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Global Travel Advisories list several destinations as too risky for Malaysians to enter. From war-torn regions to countries facing severe political unrest, economic collapse, and violent crime waves, these places pose serious safety threats. This list is based on official travel warnings, real incidents reported by Malaysians abroad, and updates from international security organizations. Let's explore the 10 countries you should avoid at all costs this year, and the reasons why.
Number 10.
North Korea has been off-limits to Malaysian citizens since 2017, following a severe diplomatic breakdown triggered by the assassination of Kim Jong-nam at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The Malaysian government responded by prohibiting all citizens from traveling to the reclusive state, citing national security risks. Even before the ban, very few Malaysians visited, as Pyongyang had strict entry requirements and limited tourist infrastructure. The country's tourism industry is state-controlled, with visitors escorted by government guides at all times. Diplomatic relations between the two nations were officially severed for years before being partially restored in 2022. However, the travel ban remains in place in 2025 under Malaysia's travel restriction order. Violators can face prosecution upon return, as the ban is legally binding under national law. North Korea itself has faced numerous UN sanctions, further discouraging any travel. Its closed economy and rigid political system make independent tourism nearly impossible. While the country boasts historical sites such as the Kum Susun Palace of the Sun, Malaysians can only see them through state media or documentaries. The restriction was partly influenced by international solidarity with allied nations who maintain sanctions. In addition, the lack of Malaysian consular presence in North Korea means no assistance is available if emergencies occur. For now, the ban shows no sign of being lifted, making it one of the few outright prohibitions on Malaysian travel.
Number 9.
Israel is one of the countries where Malaysian citizens are prohibited from entry due to Malaysia's non-recognition of the Israeli state. The restriction stems from decades of political and religious solidarity with Palestine, which Malaysia has supported since its independence. Malaysian passports explicitly state that they are valid for all countries except Israel, except under special government approval. This approval is only granted in very rare cases, such as official religious pilgrimages to Jerusalem, which require an endorsement from Malaysia's Ministry of Home Affairs. The ban means no Malaysian can enter Israel for tourism, study, or work without extraordinary permission. Historical tensions over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict have kept this policy firmly in place. Even though Israel has significant Christian and Islamic holy sites, Malaysians must access them through neighboring countries like Jordan or Egypt. Attempts to bypass the restriction can result in serious legal consequences upon return. Israel's visa issuance policies also reflect the absence of diplomatic ties, making travel nearly impossible both ways. This situation has persisted for decades and remains unchanged in 2025. Malaysian travel agencies are prohibited from offering tours that include Israel as a destination. While political shifts in other Muslim-majority nations have occasionally softened similar bans, Malaysia's stance has remained firm. As a result, Israel remains entirely inaccessible to ordinary Malaysian travelers.
Number 8.
Sudan is on Malaysia's prohibited travel list due to violent political conflict and ongoing humanitarian emergencies. Since April 2023, the country has been engulfed in fighting between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Malaysian citizens in Sudan were evacuated as violence escalated in Khartoum and other major cities. The conflict has displaced millions and left hospitals and public services barely functional. Armed checkpoints, looting and indiscriminate shelling make movement extremely risky. Sudan's historical sites, such as the pyramids of Meroe, are inaccessible to tourists. The Malaysian government has issued an outright travel ban to protect its citizens. Humanitarian corridors are limited, and aid workers require military escorts. Commercial flights to Sudan are largely suspended. Without an operational Malaysian embassy, consular assistance is unavailable. Food and fuel shortages have added to the instability. Until a ceasefire and political resolution are achieved, Sudan will remain a banned destination for Malaysians in 2025.
Number 7.
Somalia is considered one of the most dangerous countries in the world, and Malaysians are prohibited from traveling there. The ban is due to decades of civil war, terrorism, and piracy off the Somali coast. Armed group Al-Shabaab controls large parts of the countryside and carries out regular attacks in urban centers. Foreigners, including Malaysians, are at high risk of kidnapping for ransom. Infrastructure in most regions is minimal, with unreliable electricity, water, and healthcare. The Malaysian government warns that entry without permission is illegal under national law. Somalia's coastline along the Indian Ocean is stunning but unsafe due to pirate activity. International flights to Somalia are scarce and often involve transiting through unstable areas. Humanitarian aid workers operate only with armed escorts. The absence of diplomatic ties means no Malaysian assistance is available. Past incidents of Malaysians being targeted have reinforced the ban. For now, Somalia remains off-limits to all but officially sanctioned missions. Number 6. Myanmar has been effectively closed to Malaysian tourists since the military coup in February 2021 plunged the nation into chaos. The Malaysian government issued a strong advisory against all travel due to widespread violence, mass arrests, and political unrest. The military regime's crackdown on protests has left thousands dead and imprisoned. Foreigners risk arbitrary detention, especially if perceived as sympathetic to pro-democracy movements. Many parts of the country, including ethnic minority regions, have become active conflict zones. Flights are limited, and entry points may close suddenly without notice. Malaysia has also condemned Myanmar's treatment of the Rohingya, adding to strained diplomatic ties. Popular tourist sites like Bagan's temples and Inal Lake are off-limits due to instability and military checkpoints. Communication blackouts and restricted internet access make travel dangerous. Humanitarian conditions are dire, with shortages of fuel, medicine, and food. The absence of a Malaysian embassy means no local assistance for citizens. For now, all leisure and business travel to Myanmar is suspended. Only rare humanitarian missions operate with special government clearance.
Number 5.
Belarus is under heavy travel restrictions for Malaysians due to its involvement in supporting Russia's military actions in Ukraine and its tense relations with many countries. While Malaysia has not officially banned travel entirely, 2025 sees a de facto prohibition for safety and political reasons. The Malaysian government warns that the risk of being caught up in political unrest, surveillance, or arbitrary detention is high. Belarus's alignment with Moscow has led to sanctions and flight route disruptions. Malaysians have limited entry options due to the suspension of many European flight corridors. The political climate is repressive, with crackdowns on dissent and strict monitoring of foreigners. Tourists may face questioning if suspected of political activity or contact with opposition figures. Internet access is restricted, and certain websites are blocked. Belarus's cities, like Minsk, remain quiet but under heavy police presence. Economic instability has reduced the availability of services for travelers. There are also reports of consular access being delayed for detained foreigners. For Malaysians, the government advises complete avoidance of Belarus until political stability improves. In 2025, it remains a high-risk and effectively closed destination.
Number 4.
Ukraine has become a no-go zone for Malaysians in 2025 due to the ongoing war with Russia. Since the Russian invasion in 2022, much of the country has been subjected to airstrikes, shelling, and mass evacuations. The Malaysian Ministry of Foreign Affairs strongly advises against all travel to Ukraine, citing extreme danger. Key cities like Kiev, Kharkiv, and Odessa have been targeted, resulting in widespread destruction. Civilian infrastructure, including airports and hospitals, has been heavily damaged. Even western Ukraine, once considered safer, now faces missile attacks and energy shortages. Public transportation is disrupted, making movement within the country unpredictable. Malaysian citizens have no consular support in Ukraine, as diplomatic staff have been relocated to neighboring countries. The war has also triggered severe economic instability and shortages of essential goods. Tourism-related businesses have shut down, and iconic landmarks are now in conflict zones. Landmines and unexploded ordnance remain a major hazard in rural areas. International law and sanctions further complicate any travel arrangements. For the foreseeable future, Ukraine remains under a complete Malaysian travel ban.
Number 3.
Malaysia advises against travel to Moldova in 2025 due to rising regional tensions and its proximity to the war in Ukraine. Although Moldova is not directly involved in the conflict, the instability along its eastern border with the breakaway region of Transnistria poses security risks. Transnistria hosts Russian troops and is considered a politically sensitive area. The situation could change rapidly without warning, potentially trapping travelers. Public protests in the capital, Chisinau, have occasionally turned violent. Economic instability has led to rising crime rates, including pickpocketing and scams targeting foreigners. Infrastructure, particularly outside major cities, is underdeveloped, making travel difficult. The country's limited healthcare facilities cannot adequately handle serious emergencies. Airspace restrictions and reduced flight connections also make evacuation harder in a crisis. Malaysian citizens could face language barriers, as English is not widely spoken. Although Moldova's wine regions and historical monasteries attract some visitors, the overall environment is unpredictable. Malaysian authorities recommend postponing all non-essential visits until the regional situation improves.
Number 2.
In 2025, Malaysia warns its citizens about traveling to Bosnia and Herzegovina due to political instability and sporadic ethnic tensions. The country's fragile peace, established after the 1990s conflict, faces renewed strain from divisive political rhetoric. Protests and demonstrations sometimes escalate into violence, particularly in the Republika Srpska region. Organized crime remains a concern, with occasional reports of foreign tourists being targeted. Landmines from the past war still exist in rural areas, posing a danger to hikers and travelers. Public services can be unreliable, especially in smaller towns. Emergency medical facilities are limited and may require payment upfront. Transportation strikes and roadblocks are not uncommon, disrupting travel plans. The cost of living has risen, leading to occasional shortages of essential goods. While Sarajevo's cultural charm remains intact, political uncertainty overshadows tourism. Malaysian officials stress the importance of avoiding political gatherings. Travel insurance coverage might not apply in areas deemed high risk. For now, non-essential visits to Bosnia and Herzegovina are discouraged.
Number 1.
Malaysia warns against travel to North Macedonia in 2025 due to rising political unrest, sporadic ethnic tensions, and occasional violent protests. Disputes over identity, language rights, and governance have created divisions within society. Demonstrations in Skopje and other cities sometimes escalate into clashes with police. Petty crime, including pickpocketing and bag snatching, remains common in tourist areas. Infrastructure in rural parts is underdeveloped, and public transport can be unreliable. Flooding and landslides have affected certain regions, disrupting travel routes. Healthcare standards vary, and emergency medical care may be limited outside urban areas. Corruption within some local institutions can pose challenges for foreign visitors seeking assistance. Seasonal weather extremes, hot summers and cold winters, add to travel difficulties. Road safety is a concern, with accidents often caused by poor driving practices. While the country's natural beauty and cultural heritage sites attract interest, the unstable political climate overshadows tourism. Malaysian authorities recommend avoiding all non-essential visits until security conditions improve. Whether it's armed conflict, unpredictable political systems, or high levels of crime, these 10 countries currently carry extreme risks for Malaysian travelers in 2025. Safety should always be the top priority, no matter how tempting the destination might be. Before planning any trip, always check the latest travel advisories from Wisma Putra and international sources. Travel smart, stay informed, and choose destinations where your journey will be memorable for the right reasons.